Hello everyone, welcome back to Seamrite Fashion Academy YouTube channel once again. Today we are going to make the Queen Anne neckline. Our focus on this tutorial is the Queen Anne neckline, and this neckline we are going to create both the front and the back. Okay, so the neckline is named after, I don't know whether it's the Queen Anne of England or Queen Anne of Denmark. Okay, but on the screen you can see the neckline we are talking about right there. So to begin this tutorial, you can see on my table here I already have all my basic lines. Okay, I have my shoulder. Of course, I'm working on the front part of this neckline. This is my chest line, this is my bust point, my under bust point, because we are going to create a sweetheart neckline together with the Queen Anne neckline in this tutorial. Okay, so if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this each week, like the video, share to family and friends to benefit as well, drop your questions on the comment section and your suggestions as well, your comments as well. All right, so to jump into this tutorial right away, I've done the first thing I'm supposed to do, which are my basic lines, as you can see. So the next thing I want to do is to create and contour mine, because it's going to be a Queen Anne neckline bustier. So I'll just quickly draft out the bustier and the sweetheart neckline. Okay, so actually before I do that, the first thing I need to do is to connect my shoulder seam. So I'm going to divide what I have in here. This is my shoulder seam line after my natural neckline of 3 by 3. So the neckline here is 3 by 3, which is standard. So I'll just divide what I have from here to here, as you can see. So this is how I do that. I create this division and make a mark to get the center of the seam line. Then I'll connect it all the way to this, as you can see. So this is what you're expected to have first. That is the first thing we are doing in this tutorial. So having done this right now, the next thing I want to do is to create my neckline. Okay, so you first of all create your sweetheart neckline, or any neckline you want to use the Queen Anne for. So from my natural neckline right here, I just want to come down by 3 inches more to create my sweetheart. So this 3 inches line right now is going to be the line at which I'm going to create that my sweetheart neckline. Can you see? So whatever sweetheart neckline is going to start at this 3 inches I came down with. So now from this point, I'm going to connect whatever neckline on this line. So from this point, I'll just come down by 1 inch more, or you can also come down by 1.5, depending on how deep you want your sweetheart neckline to be. So I'll be connecting what I have in here all the way to this line I created. Can you see? So I have my sweetheart neckline in here, and I'm going to blend what I have in here into my armhole. Can you see? Because I actually need the sweetheart neckline to blend into the armhole. So you can see I've done that, and it's already looking nice and beautiful. So it's time for us to start contouring and to contour the under bust line. I'm going to contour the under bust line right now, and I'm going to come in on the center front. This is my center front. Remember, we are drafting on the front bodice first. So since we are drafting the front bodice first, I'm taking 0.5 this way and 1 inch on this way on the waistline, and I'm taking on the center from 0.5, and I'm going to take 1.5 to contour my line on this side. So I'll just connect the lines right now. I'm connecting the 1 inch on this side for my contour to the 1.5, as you can see. So this is what I expect you to do here. So at this point, which is the bust point, I'll come down by 1 inch. I'll also come up by 1 inch. So having done that, I'm going to place my rule. I need you to look at how this ruler is being placed. You can see how I placed my curve rule. I'm connecting the 0.5 to the 1-inch line this way. Okay, so please make sure it touches this bust span line, but it does not exceed the bust span or come into that line. So I'll also do the same. You can see how I kept my ruler from the 1.5 to the 1-inch and then to the bust point. You can see what I have here, looking so beautiful. So in here is 1.5 inch, and here is 1 inch, and here is 0.5. Okay, please take note of that. All right, so now having contoured my under bust, okay, I'm going to contour the upper bust as well. This is the upper bust area, and on the upper bust area I'm going to come in from this line. You can see the line I drew before, which is the line we came down for our sweetheart neckline. Where they intersect this other line I'm touching in here, I'm going to come from here to here at 0.75. that is 3/4 of an inch on both sides. So two of them measures 1.5, as you can see. So now I'm going to place my contour line. Can you see, from the 1 inch, from the bust point 1 inch, this is 1 inch, and from the bust point down 1 inch. So you can see how I placed my ruler. I'm not using the curvy part to do that. I'll also flip to this point. You can see what I have here. Okay, so I have contoured my upper bust, and I've contoured my under bust. Okay, so that is the first thing you do. And in here we have our sweetheart neckline. So the next thing I want to do now, which is to replace all that. Make sure all that you have in here are replaced. This is very important, because if you don't, you'll be having shortage on your drafting. So right here I'm going to replace what I have from here to here. From here to here I have 1.5 altogether. I'm going to put it back here, and on this part, okay, I have about 1/4 of an inch. I'll put it back, and on this part also I have 1.5. I'll also add it back. Okay, so I'm adding everything I have in here over here. So now I'm going to connect. You can see I'm going to connect. So you can see I have, sorry about that. So this is not my seam allowance, okay? It's the replacement of the darts that I have to put back. Okay, so please take note of that. The darts has been replaced at their appropriate place to avoid shortage, because once I cut off this dart right now, this space is gone from the bodies. I believe you understand that this space has taken away a lot from the body. So we need to replace what we have here, replace what we have here to balance up our pattern. So now it's time to jump into the business of the day, and the business of today is the Queen Anne neckline. So the Queen Anne neckline is this neckline that goes into the armhole from the neckline. It goes into the armhole from the neckline. Now you are going to see how I'm going to do that. Although on the screen you can see how the neckline is created into the armhole, but it comes up also, it comes up on the neckline as well. Okay, so to do that right now, I'm going to fill in what I have here. I'm supposed to give like 2 or 3 inches on that line, okay, on my border line. Okay, so when drafting this, make sure you have your border line extended. Okay, what I have in here is 1 inch. 1 inch is not enough, so I'm going to add my pepper. All right, so to create this neckline, you can see I've already added my pepper. So when you are making drafting this Queen Anne neckline, please make sure you leave about 3 inches before your border line, so you'll be able to create in the neckline. Okay, so now this is my natural neckline. From here to here is 3 inches, and I'm going to take this line up. See what I'm going to do? I'm changing my marker to do that. I'm going to extend this line. You can see how I'm extending it with a dotted line. So on this line extension right now, I'm going to take the measurement of 1.5. You can also take 1 inch, okay? So but I need this neckline to go up a little bit. So you can see from here to here is 1.5 inches. Now I will go in on this line, on the slanted line. I'm going in by 1 inch, okay? This is 1 inch. So I came from here 1 inch and I came up at 1.5 inches. All right, so having done that right now, I'm going to first of all connect this line to this line with my curve ruler. So this is what I do with my curve ruler. I connect, okay, just make it curvy as you can see me do. You can see I've connected it, okay? So now having connected this part right now is now going to the shoulder. So now it means that the neckline has been raised because it's going to be attached to the back. So now that it has been raised, on the center front I'll also raise the center front to match up with what I have in here. So I'm going to take my measurement of 1.5. Like I said, you can also make it 1 inch. It depends on how high you want it to be. So here I'm going to connect with a straight line, or because the neckline is not as curvy, not as straight as that, so I'll just, you know, give it just slight, use the curvy part of my ruler so it doesn't really, you know, go too straight. All right, so now this is what I have for the neckline. So here comes the real Queen Anne neckline. This is the extension of the neckline. So for the Queen Anne neckline, I'm going to place my ruler. Like I said, is the neckline that connects the armhole. So it's going to connect, you are placing your ruler to connect the armhole and connect this 1.5 line. So I'm going to create the Queen Anne neckline right now. Can you see? So that is the Queen Anne neckline, okay? All right, so you are going to see how this is going to be cut, and we have the neckline accurately. So the neckline right now runs all the way from here and connects to the shoulder this way. Can you see? And cuts, I'm going to cut like this. Of course you are going to see how this is going to be cut right away, okay? So we have this line blend into this line. All right, so now we are done with the neckline. So this is the Queen Anne neckline right now. All these parts we are not making use of them. Of course you see when we cut them. And the next thing we want to do is to create our bust dart. Remember, we are going to draft the back, and the back piece is shorter because the front length is shorter by 2 inches. So the difference between the length, the front length, that is the measurement of my shoulder to my waist for the front, and that of the back is 2 inches. And on this line, this new line, I replaced my darts. I'm going to come down from the bust point by the 2 inches and divide it by half by half, okay? So I'll take whatever thing I have to the bust point directly, and on this part I'll also take to the bust point. So on this part I'm coming out a little by 0.5 or 1/4 of an inch to connect back and connect back to accommodate my darts, okay? So you can see the dart accommodation. So if you have been following my tutorials, you know that we always close up our bust dart for an accurate fit. So right now this is the Queen Anne neckline for the front, and we are done with it. So I want to cut it off so you see the result of this neckline. So I'm going to cut right now, so we can go into the drafting of the back piece. So I'm cutting through the dart accommodation, and I'm cutting through I'll first of all cut through my sweetheart Queen Anne neckline. Can you see? So I will now cut through the neck. Okay, so I will keep cutting till I get to the 1.5. So if you stopped at 1 inch, you can just stop at 1 inch, okay? So this part right now is supposed to be for the back, Okay, it's supposed to be the illusion for the back, but since we are going to create the back piece of it, so I will set it aside. All we need is from this part, so I'm going to cut from this part once again and blend it into. Okay, so make sure you don't leave any part sharp edge on this part. It doesn't need to be sharp, so I'll just cut and return back to the armhole. Can you see? So this is what you expected to have on this part for the Queen Anne. Okay, so this is where what you have in here, the neckline. So we'll be adding our seam allowances of 0.5 all through, and this part will be attached to the back. So let me quickly cut off this. Let me cut off the pattern completely the way it's supposed to be and close up our bust dart. So at this point I'm going to cut off my waist dart so I can close up my bust dart. So I'm discarding this because we don't need it, and I'll be opening my bust dart, okay, to close it up. So I'm going to close up my bust dart right now, as you can see me do. So I'm going to take it all the way. Oh, please don't allow it to move outside the bust line. So I'm going to align it on the bust line. As you can see, it's aligned and it's closed. Okay, all right. So the next thing I want to do now, I'll continue my cutting to cut off my upper bust. Can you see? So I'm taking away this, and this is what we have for the Queen Anne for the front. So when we are stitching this Queen Anne neckline, we are going to stitch, because it goes into the armhole this way. Can you see that? So this is exactly what we have for the Queen Anne. So let me quickly draft the back piece so you see the full Queen Anne neckline. So at this point, this will serve as you are going to cut this on fold. This is the fold sign, so this will be cut on fold, and you cut 2 times of it for your bustier. So once your bustier is sewn, you cut off this part and attach it exactly on the armhole line. Okay, you can see we blended it into the armhole, so this is going to be attached while the armhole continues this way. Okay, so I will set the front piece of the Queen Anne neckline aside, then bring back the back piece to draft. So the back piece right now, this is also the neckline we are talking about. Okay, so there's not much work on the back piece. I will want to use a princess dart for my back, because the back piece is going to have a high neckline. That is how it is on the Queen Anne. So I'm going to take from the tip of my shoulder right now, I'm going to take around my armhole to find out what I have, and I have 10.5 inches. So half of 10.5 inches here is about 5.25. okay, so at that 5.25 I'm going to create my princess dart. So I'm creating my princess dart for the back. Okay, so you can see how I'm blending it in. Okay, so you make sure it touches the bust point and blends in like this. Okay, so I have my princess dart, and it's as easy as that. So now the next thing I want to do, I'll also add up my pepper for the neckline of the Queen Anne neckline for the back. So the back does not actually have too much issues anyway. Okay, so like I said, when drafting this front and back Queen Anne neckline, make sure you have 3 inches before your border line, your shoulder line. Okay, so this is my shoulder line. Okay, and this is the chest line for the back, and this is the bust point, and this is the waistline. Okay, and I have my dart of 1 inch, that is 0.5 on this side, 0.5 on this side. So coming over to the neckline, what I have in here is 3 inches. Okay, I didn't bother going down to create my neckline of 1 inch, which is standard, because this is a Queen Anne neckline, which the back is always high. Okay, so now I will come up, I'm going to trace this 3 inches from the center line to this is 3 inches. I'll do the same thing I did for the front, and at that point I'll take my measurement of 1.5. like I said, you can make it 1 inch, but if you are using 1 inch, please use 1 inch for front and for your back. Okay, so I'll also extend this. Okay, so what I actually did at that front is what I'm repeating here once again. This is where we are supposed to have the neckline. Okay, so at the back neckline, I'll use the curvy part of my ruler because the neckline at the back is not straight. So I've connected the neckline, and I'll come out by 1 inch. Once I come out by 1 inch, I'm going to blend this point and this point using a curve, just exactly what I did at the front. So can you see? All right, so this is what you have for the back of your Queen Anne neckline. So of course you have a zipper. So since you're having a zipper for the neckline, for the dress, I'll just come and extend. I'm going to add up my zipper in here, the contour line for my zip. So I'm going to contour from here to here. I'm taking 0.5, and I'm going to blend it into my chest line. Can you see? So I'm taking off this. This is what I'm going to take off. So like I said, there is no seam allowance added, so I'm not bothering to add my zipper allowance. So once you get your fabric, just add your zipper allowance of 1 inch. Okay, so now I've taken away 0.5. I will replace it back here. I've taken away 1 inch. I'll replace it back here. So what I'm replacing on this line is 1.5 inches, which you can see. So on the chest line remains the same. We are not replacing anything. So I have to connect my line like this. Can you see? So this is what you're expected to have at the back. So I'm going to cut off the back piece of this dress right now and separate the princess dart for the back. Okay, I use a princess dart for the back, and it works perfectly well for a high shoulder. So now I'm cutting through the Queen Anne neckline for the back. You can see that. So I'll just blend. This is that part of the front we blended. So once you add your seam allowances and merge them together, it blends so beautifully well. Okay, so I forgot to mention that you need to add your dart extension, okay, to avoid shortage. So please make sure you extend this princess dart by 1 inch. So once that is extended, the next thing you do is to recreate your armhole line from that extension. So this is how I recreate the armhole line. So at the end of the day, after cutting, after sewing, you will not have any shortage at all. So I'm coming from this point where I replaced my contour line and my dart line, and I'll go into the armhole princess dart, new dart line, new armhole line, and I'm cutting off through the basic dart to this line. You can see how I did that. So I'll just cut off. Okay, make sure you don't leave any sharp edge. Okay, you just blend it in. So I'll now cut off what I have in here. I believe you understand that. So this part right now, this is what we have for the back piece of this Queen Anne neckline. So this part is going to be my zipper. So I will just write zip here. So when cutting on my fabric, I will know where and where to add my seam allowances. So I'm going to add 1 inch seam allowance on this for my zip, and on this part I'm adding 0.5 to stitch this armhole princess dart together. So by the time I start stitching from below to this point, because of this curve, is going to take the 1 inch extra extension I added to recreate my armhole. Can you see that? So when you cut and try it, you understand what I mean. So this is the Queen Anne neckline for the back, and I want you to look at it so well. And the Queen Anne neckline for the front is what I have right here. Okay, what I have in here. So for the front, you have this for your Queen Anne neckline. You can see. So when you are stitching, make sure you have your notches. Okay, so assuming we are stitching this to this right now. Okay, so we have this is going to be the center back, and this is the center front. Okay, so this part, which is the neckline, this part is going to be sewn this way. Okay, let me just demonstrate how it's going to be sewn. This part, you can see this curvy part is going to match up. Can you see it's already matched up? Can you see? So when you sew it right now, this is what you have in here. Can you see? I believe you understand what I'm trying to explain. So this is the center front for this, and this is it. Okay, so I'm just pretending as if I want to stitch the neckline. So if I pretend stitching the neckline, this is exactly, these parts you see here will just blend. Okay, you stitch it together like this, and you stitch your shoulder. So as we add our seam allowance, we are going to sew 0.5 inch, and we return back to this part, to nothing. Can you see that? So this neckline is actually a very beautiful neckline. All right, so this is it. So if you love this content, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this each week. Like this video, share to family and friends. Drop your comments on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Okay, I will be dropping the link to our WhatsApp group where we'll learn paper illustrations and sewing innovations on the description box below. Please click on the link and join this wonderful group. Okay, so this is how we come to